Hi everyone, I am back to do yet another blender comparison. In my last video I compared the Froothie G2.6 with the Vitamix. Today I will be comparing it with the Blendtec. So let's get straight into this. First up, similarities. Both of these blenders come with plastic jugs. If you're looking for a blender that actually gives you a glass jug, do look at my video of the Froothie Evolve, because that blender comes with a really good glass jug. What else are the similarities here? Well, there's only one other similarity, if I've got to be completely honest, and that is that both of these blenders have an on type of switch. It's a switch that you have to press before actually turning the blenders on. The one with the Blendtec is at the back, whereas the one on the G2.6, it's on the side. Now, what you're here for, the differences. Let me start off with the size. So the Blendtec has markings up to 1 liter. It can handle about 500 mils more, so you can put about 1.5 liters of contents in here. Whereas with the G2.6, you've got a 2 liter jug. So, you know, this is really helpful if you're trying to make a large batch of smoothies or something, because, you know, you can just do everything really efficiently in this one instead of having to possibly blend twice or thrice with the Blendtec. Next up, I'm going to go into the blades of both machines. With the Blendtec, there is 2 multi-purpose blades. The G2.6, however, gives you 6 blades, so 4 larger blades and 2 smaller blades. This alone is going to mean that the G2.6 will give you a much smoother finish in less time than the Blendtec would. So, you know, the G2.6 is really ideal for nut butters, sorbets, almond milk, smoothies. I mean, you can make all that stuff in the Blendtec as well, but it's not going to be as efficient as the G2.6. Another main difference that you'll notice is that the Blendtec comes with very few selections on the panel. What you've got is 1, 2, 3, 4, pulse, start and stop, and then the speed. So this is kind of your standard, you know, the standard thing that comes with most blenders today. And it's by no means a bad feature of the Blendtec, but it's quite basic in its ability to, you know, blend various ingredients and recipes. When it comes to the G2.6, you've got the on-off button, pulse, just like the Blendtec. You've also got speed, like the Blendtec, but you have time. So you can set a timer, walk away, and then, you know, not have to stand in the kitchen and wait for your smoothies or whatever to be ready. You can go do something else. Now, the really cool functions are vegetable, grind, sorbet, smoothies, soup, and sauce. So these are 6 presets that come with the G2.6, which means, you know, you're telling the blender basically exactly what is in the jug so that it can do the most efficient job in blending, whether it be a soup, you know, or a sauce or a smoothie. It will know exactly what to do to give you the ideal product in the end. Now, the G2.6 comes with an incredibly powerful motor that comes in at 2,400 watts. This is the most powerful blender that Froothie has on the market at the moment, and 2,400 watts will easily, you know, chuck your iPhone in there, chuck, I don't know, whatever you want in there. It'll turn it into a powder. Don't try this at home, but take my word for it. The Blendtec, based on their website, is 1560, so that's 1,560 watts, which is, you know, it's not bad, but it's a lot less than what the G2.6 can give you in terms of power. If you're into blenders, you'll probably know Blendtec, fantastic blender. But if you were to ask me which blender I would prefer to have in my kitchen, I would definitely be choosing the G2.6. And this is simply because it gives me a variety of functions and options that I can choose from, which makes it a very multi-purpose appliance to have in the kitchen. Like I've always said, I have a really small apartment and a really small kitchen. As you can see, I call it probably a kitchenette, not even a kitchen. And I try to have as few appliances as possible in order to have counter space to do other things, right? So if I were to get a blender, I want one that can, you know, make sorbet. I want one that can make juice, smoothies, mash vegetables, potatoes, you know, do as many things as possible with one machine. So, you know, both amazing blenders, but the G2.6 definitely just has that extra flair for anyone who is looking for a high-end blender, you know, that can do almost any job that you're looking for it to do. All right, now onto the fun stuff that everyone is here for. I'm going to be preparing espresso almond milk in both these blenders. So I'm just going to let you know what the ingredients I'm using are first. I soak almonds overnight in water. You can leave them in the fridge if you're afraid of, you know, them going off or something. But the purpose of soaking almonds before making almond milk is to help develop the enzymes and ensure that, you know, it's more digestible. It also just makes it a lot easier to blend. You don't have to do this, but I recommend always soaking your nuts the night before when you're going to be making almond milk. What I have in here, they both have the same things in them. That's 3/4 of a cup of almonds that have been soaked overnight and then rinsed off under the tap. And 3/4 of a cup in here as well. 2.5 cups of filtered water in both these blenders. 3 medjool dates. You can use agave nectar, you can use coconut sugar, you can use raw sugar. It all depends on what you want. You don't even have to put it in there if you want unsweetened espresso almond milk. I also add a little pinch of sea salt to balance the flavors. And finally, I add 1 tablespoon of instant espresso. If you have a coffee machine at home and you can produce real espresso, go ahead and use that. Now, because the Blendtec does not have any specific functions and I want to make this a fair comparison, what I'm going to do is I'll be blending each of this for 1 minute on their highest setting just to make it fair. So I'm going to start with the Blendtec. Like I said before, it's got a switch at the back, which that was actually turned on already, but I'm going to show it again. When you turn it on at the back, this will light up. And I'm going to set my timer on my phone for 1 minute. So let's do 1 minute. And then I'm going to start blending for a whole minute at the highest setting possible, and then we'll move on to this one. So let's go. Okay, I am just going to do the exact same thing that I did in the Blendtec in the G2.6. As before, this machine also has a button on the side. Once it lights up, we go on. I'm going to select smoothie. I'm going to increase the time to 1 minute. Since we have a timer, we might as well use it. And I'm going to set the speed to 9, which is the maximum. And then here we go. And we're done. Next up, I'm actually gonna sieve the almond milk so that I get rid of all, you know, the almond skin and everything, so that we have a really smooth milk. And then I'm actually going to compare how much pulp has been left over in both these machines. So, all right, so I am going to start with the milk we've made in the Blendtec. And that is all sieved. So based off this measuring jug, we have 700 ml of espresso almond milk from the Blendtec, and I have saved the pulp here, and we're going to weigh that after I have sieved the batch that was made in the G2.6. Now, if you don't want to use a strainer, you can always use a nut milk bag. You're going to have to get your hands a little bit dirty, which I didn't want to do on video, but a nut milk bag is very, very helpful. Now I'm just going to pour this in here so that we can use this again. Just right. Pour the rest in a different cup. Okay. And we are going to repeat the process. It does get a bit messy, but you know. Trust me, the taste is worth the effort. You can immediately see with the G2.6 how quickly it actually goes through the sieve. That's crazy. That's wow. See, with the Blendtec, I had to do it in 2 to 3 batches. This is done literally instantly. No fast forward needed. Oh, wow. Okay, I did not expect this, but there is no pulp. Like, there's nothing left. That is crazy. Like, I expected some pulp, but wow. And we've got 900 mils of espresso almond milk here. That is absolutely insane. Like, I'm very, very impressed by this. So let me just clear up and then we'll talk a little bit more. And there you have it, the comparison between the Blendtec and the G2.6. I am genuinely amazed at how the almond milk with the G2.6 did not produce any leftover pulp. So we've basically blended all the almonds. There's no wastage at all, whereas with the Blendtec there was about like 1/3 of a cup of almond meal that was still stuck there. Obviously, if you do end up with any almond meal left over, you can always dehydrate it or put it in the oven, you know, dry it out and then fold that into, you know, banana bread, cake batter, anything. It'll really boost the nutritional content of your baked goods, and it's also a great way of not wasting it. I'm just going to take a little sip. This is so yum. Like, you guys have to try this out. But yeah, there you have it. A comparison between the Blendtec and the G2.6. Honestly, both amazing blenders, but based off this alone, G2.6 is my first choice.